What's going on, guys? CardMechanic here, and today I'm going to be teaching you the bottom deal. Let's do it. Just a quick warning before you guys dive into this video. It is actually quite long and very in-depth. So if you want to become, a master of bottom dealing, better than, I am at this point or probably will ever be, definitely go through the entire thing. And I guarantee you, with a good amount of practice, you'll master the bottom deal in no time. And for those of you who do not like long videos, I guess you guys could skip to the recap, which is near the end of the video, which should also be helpful. So if you guys think you know what you're doing, you could just skip right to the recap. Alright, so I'll put the recap time in the description so you can check that out. Alright, now we can get into the video. Now before getting into the bottom deal, there's a couple things that I have to mention. One is that it's definitely not an easy move to learn. It requires at least a few weeks, if not a few months, of consistent practice every day to get down properly. Two, there are a couple of hand motions that I'm going to teach you before getting into the actual bottom deal. And three, when you're picking cards to use in the bottom deal, I would recommend complete borderless cards. And in this case, I'm using the Madison dealers. So as you can see, they're completely borderless. And the best part is when you spread them out, you can barely tell where one card ends and the other card begins. So those are just a couple of things. And if you agree to these terms, let's get into the bottom deal. Now check this out. Let's just say we're playing a game of poker with, let's just say 4 people. Right, so I'm going to deal out 5 cards to each person. And let's check out everyone's poker hand. So as you can see, this guy really doesn't have anything. This person has a 2 pair of 8s, pair of 10s, which is pretty good. This person has a pair of 2s, not that great. And of course, me being a dealer, I got a 4 pair of aces. Now that of course is just one use of the bottom deal. You could use it for cheating at card games. Again, don't recommend, but you could do it if you want to. Cheating at card games, doing card tricks, just showing off your skills for fun. So there's a lot of uses for the bottom deal, and it's just, for me, I think it was a lot of fun to perform and definitely worth the amount of effort being put into learning how to do it. Now actually getting into how it's done, you're going to choose the hand you hold the deck in. So I hold the deck in my left hand since I'm right-handed. I hold the deck in my left hand. So one move you're going to really have to be comfortable doing is separating these 2 fingers. Right, these 2 fingers with these 2 fingers. So you're really gonna have to be comfortable doing that spreading of the fingers. But when you're doing this, you want to be moving these bottom 2 fingers and not the top 2 fingers. Right, so when you're doing this, you want to be moving the bottom 2. Right, and you're gonna have to get really comfortable doing that, because if you don't get comfortable doing that, this is not gonna work. Right, so let's say you practice that for like a day or 2 and you got really comfortable doing it. Now, the way the bottom deal works is you're going to get into this grip right here, right? So this is a Mechanic's grip. It's pretty much very similar to Mechanic's grip, but you're going to move your middle finger to the bottom corner of the deck. So I'm holding it like this. I have my index finger across like this. I have my middle finger right on the bottom corner of the deck, and I have my ring and pinky finger on the side. And my thumb I usually keep here when I'm talking, and then when I start dealing, I use it to push the cards. So now, once you know what you're doing here, and you know what you're going to be doing with the thumb, you can finally get into doing the deal. So now the way the bottom deal is going to work is you have these 2 fingers here. You're going to come with these 2 fingers, you're going to go right to the edge of that bottom card here. You're going to go to that edge and push down. So you're just going to use the tips of your ring and pinky finger, go to the edge of the card, push down, right on the card, right? So you're applying a pressure this way. In this case, you're applying a pressure upwards. You're applying that pressure, and then you're just going to be pulling down on the card. Right? So it's a little difficult to do at this angle, but that's what you're going to be doing. Right? So at this angle, you can see I come here, and I'm just pulling down like this. And that's why it's really important to figure out how to do this, because that's really what the main motion is in the bottom deal. Right, so you're here, you're gonna come here, pull down like this. So you have the card here. Now, of course, I think this is the most difficult part of the bottom deal, because I know when I was first learning this, I had trouble sliding the card down, because one, you really have to loosen this middle finger when you're grabbing this card. If you're pushing too hard, this card's not gonna come out, so you loosen the grip a little bit with your middle finger, and then it's easier for the card to come out. So that's one thing, one tip I can give you with pulling the card out. Another thing, make sure the cards are not like very old, because if they're really old and the cards tend to stick to each other, which is going to be a problem. And another thing is make sure the cards aren't like super brand new, because if the cards are super brand new, they're going to be slippery and they're just going to be hard to grip when you're pulling out like this, right? So I guess just a mildly used deck, which is pretty much perfect for this. And of course I'm using the Madison dealers because of course they're borderless. So even if someone does see me doing something when I'm doing the bottom deal, they're really just not going to know if it's the top card or the bottom card or any card in the center. So that's why I love having borderless cards while doing this. Alright, so now you're here. Getting to here again will require a decent amount of practice. It took me months to be able to do this cleanly. Maybe I'm just a slow learner, but it took me months just to be able to pull that out properly without struggling every single time. Right, so that might take you a while, it might take you a day. I don't know, it depends on how good you are at handling a deck of cards. Right, so now that you have this card pulled out, you're going to also push on this card forward. Right, so you pull your here. At the action of doing this, you're also going to push this card out. So you're doing this. Right, so you got that card here, you got that there. Now the way you're going to be pulling cards out is you take your middle finger, put it on the bottom of the deck, take your index finger, I like to put it right on the top of the deck, thumb, well the top of the deck I mean like this edge right here, the thumb will actually go on top of the deck, and then when you're pulling out, you're going to be pretend to pulling off this top card, but then you're actually going to be taking this bottom card right here, pulling it out, squaring it up here, that's why I use my index finger, square it up here, and then put it down. Right, so one more time. Man, I really bent this card out. Ugh. So one more time, you're here, also push this out. You pretend to grab this top card, but you're actually taking off this bottom card here, and then you're just placing that right down. So up to speed, from what I taught you so far, that's what it looks like. Now when you're actually doing the deal, you want to actually, when you're here, you want to actually tilt up a little bit. Not too much that you flash the bottom, but you want to tilt up a little bit and then pull out. This way the spectator really has a hard time seeing if it's the top card you're pulling out or if it's randomly in some other spot. But of course in their mind they're going to be thinking it is the top card unless they have reason to suspect you. But if you're just doing this, right, so you want to practice the motion of coming here, putting your hands together, not dealing from here. You can if you get really good and if people aren't paying close attention. But you want to come up here a little bit, get that going. People want to see you push over the card with the thumb, pull this card out, and place it down. Right, so that's what it's going to look like. Right, that's pretty much it. Now just a couple of tips that are really important. When you're doing regular deals, you don't want to be dealing differently, like you're doing this, and then when you go to the bottom deal, then you do that. Right? You want to keep your dealing very consistent, and that's also why I practice like this. It kind of forces me to keep my dealing completely consistent. Right? So coming over like this, when I'm just doing a regular deal, I come over, I do the exact same thing. I pretend, except this time, I'm still sliding my middle finger right in the bottom here. So I'm here doing this. So that's my regular top deal. So then when I go for the bottom deal, it really doesn't look a whole lot different. Right? So that's just what you want to focus on. You want to focus on keeping all your deals as consistently as possible. And even you want to go down to the level where you want it to sound the same. Right? So you don't want the top deal to sound like this, and the bottom deal is sounding like this. right? So you want to also get to the point where the sounds are very similar. Otherwise, when you're doing something, the spectator is going to think, or the other players are going to think something fishy is going on. So I know this is a very long video, but I do want to do a really quick recap because there was a lot of stuff covered. So one, you get into this grip right here. Index finger, middle finger here on this corner, these two fingers on the side, thumb is going to be using to push over. You also want to get good at using this mechanic by doing this. Now when you come over here, you press at the edge of this bottom card, you pull it out, you have that going there, and while you're pulling out, at the same time you want to push over the card at the top. And now while all this motion is going on, you want to be also coming up like this, right? You don't want to stay here like this. Oh my god. You don't want to stay here like this, just doing this, because it will become very clear that you're not dealing from the top if people are looking closely. So you want to come up right here. The next thing when you're practicing, I know also it's easier to practice with a smaller deck. It's definitely a lot easier to perform, but chances are you're not going to be doing the bottom deal on a small deck. So you want to start off hard. You want to make things as hard as possible for you, so in pressure situations, you're going to be all good to go. Then of course, the last thing to remember, do not deal just bottom. You should probably switch top, bottom, or like top, bottom, top, bottom. So just doing something like that, and you'll get really good at this in a shorter amount of time. Not a short amount of time, shorter than extremely long amount of time. And that's pretty much all I have for you guys on the bottom deal. And I know I made this video very long. I really didn't want to, but there's just so many aspects that I wanted to cover. So it is the length that it is at this point. But I hope you guys got a lot from this video, and hope to see you guys doing bottom deals really soon. So that pretty much wraps up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to go check out my Patreon page to help support my channel, because your support really means a lot to me. So I'll put the link to that in the description, and also in the description is a link to all my social media, so you can follow me on there for my pictures, videos, status updates, and all that kind of good stuff. So all that being said, I will see you in the next video. Oh wow, you guys are still here. I need to start leaving some prizes or something, because why else would you stay here this long? But in the meantime, like, share, subscribe, because if you do, you are awesome. Thanks for watching.